What if Britain's biggest political problem isn't left versus right? What if it's something much simpler? What if governments have been so focused on tomorrow's headlines that they've lost sight of what the country needs 10 years from now? Look at housing, energy, defence, infrastructure, skills. These are all issues that require decades of planning, yet modern politics increasingly operates on a cycle measured in hours. A bad headline appears, ministers react. A policy announcement follows, the story moves on, but the underlying problem remains exactly as it was. So has Britain become a country governed by headlines rather than strategy? Democratic governments have always paid attention to public opinion. It's not a flaw, it's part of accountability. But the media environment has changed dramatically. 24-hour news, rolling commentary, social media, online outrage cycles, instant polling, focus groups, they've all compressed policy decision making. A minister used to have days or weeks to formulate a response. Now the pressure's measured in minutes. Every government faces demands to be seen to be doing something immediately. The result is often political success being linked not to long-term outcomes, but knee-jerk reactions. In other words, managing the narrative becomes more important than solving the problem. To be fair, there's arguments in favour of rapid policy responses. Governments can't ignore public concerns. If crime rises, hospitals struggle or public services fail, voters do expect action. A responsive government is a democratic government. But journalists can reveal waste, corruption, incompetence or policy failures. And in that sense, headlines can serve as useful accountability function. The challenge isn't the responsiveness itself. The challenge is when responsiveness becomes the dominant form of government. Many of Britain's biggest challenges share one common feature. They require long-term thinking. Take housing. Successive governments have promised to increase home building, yet policy swings between announcements, targets, reforms, reversals. The result's persistent shortage, affordability problems, and repeated commitments to solve them. Energy policy is the same. Over the last 20 years, Britain's seen numerous changes in direction regarding nuclear power, renewables, gas, net zero implementation, fracking. And some of the changes were justified. Others reflected shifting political pressures and media narratives. Defence is a similar lesson. Major procurement programmes frequently attract attention only when there's a delay, an overspend or a capability gap that becomes headline news. Yet defence planning operates on timescales of decades, and as recent headlines show, not enough thought has been put into strengthening the military. Politicians are rewarded for visible announcements. But they're often rewarded for patient administration? No. A new initiative generates coverage. Rarely is it asked, why didn't you say this in your manifesto? Improving an existing system is a bit boring, doesn't make a headline. Not like a ribbon-cutting ceremony attracting cameras. Quiet institutional reform isn't headline-worthy. And this creates a structural bias towards short-term visibility over long-term effectiveness. There's rarely a lack of announcements, but when announcements are so inconsistent, it makes it difficult to sustain focus or complex problems that require years of steady effort. It's not just a risk of wasted money, it's institutional drift. Civil servants facing changing priorities come up with different ways to frustrate them. Businesses face uncertainty, look for somewhere else to base their operations. Investors hesitate. Public trust can suffer. There's also a risk that symbolic actions replace substantive reforms. Look at the juries. Oh no, we don't have enough cases going trial quickly enough. Don't think, well, maybe we'll get more days of the court being open, or we'll set some sort of time limit structure. No, let's just throw away 1,000 years of history and get rid of your right to a jury trial with your peers. Won't fix it, be a headline. If Britain wants to escape headline-driven governance, the answer isn't less democracy. It's more clarity. Publish long-term outcome measures rather than focusing solely on announcements. Devote greater scrutiny to implementation, not just policy launches. Independent bodies like the National Audit Office should give greater attention when assessing whether programmes deliver results. And finally, politicians should be judged on their outcomes, not their promises. Now, the last one is a little bit for the fairies. But how about improved manifestos, and when a policy that wasn't in the manifesto or flies in the face of the manifesto comes up, there has to be a debate in Parliament and it has to be justified. And failure to follow the manifesto raises a no confidence vote. The news cycle doesn't fit the challenges we have. So challenges need to have debate around them, public debate, public understanding, leading to long-term policy decisions that are clear. There'll still be some bread and circuses, but at least policy will drive legislation.